And when I walked in here, this looks like it's been artificially distressed, like a lot of shops do. Like they take the patina and they make it what they think people will want to see. But that's not the case with this car. This is the actual finish of this car, which is just real remarkable. But I'll let them try to tell you about the history of the car and the story and how it came to the museum. So you guys take it away.
All right, this is a 1907 Richmond Automobile made by the Wayne Works Corporation here in Richmond, Indiana. They built cars from 1904 till about 1917, and then they evolved into assembling buses, and then they made buses up until about 1990. This car in particular was bought here by a sales rep, and the sales rep drove it to North Dakota and sold it. It was the Moat Brothers Agency in Wimbledon, North Dakota, and they sold it to a family in around 1907, and it remained in that family for almost 100 years. In 2003, it actually came on eBay. The family decided that the next generation didn't want it, and they felt better to try to sell it. And a local car enthusiast here found it on eBay and put together a deal with the owner to bring the car back to Richmond. And the car is basically untouched. It's in the original shape. Very little's added to it.
So you guys have had the car here at the Society since 2003?
Yes.
Okay, and just recently, I would say within the last 6 months or so, you guys decided to undergo a sympathetic restoration to possibly get it so it would at least stop. Not necessarily run, but stop.
Well,
and then it evolved from there, because you've been invited to participate in a concourse event,
yes,
which requires that it run. And when's that event coming up? Next month, isn't it?
Yeah. June 9th, I believe. It's at Alt Park down in Cincinnati, Ohio. And it's a concourse show, and they have a survivor class this year. And so unrestored cars, and they invited us down there. They wanted to see our car down there. So they literally invited us to come down and to put it on display, but we want to get it running, and it probably hasn't run since, I don't know, I'd say the mid-'80s.
Now, what do they call this seat? Merry Widow seat?
The car is a 1907 Richmond Model J.
Okay.
Merry Widow.
Merry Widow. So this, what do they call this seat? Just a mother-in-law
I
seat?
guess it would be just a mother-in-law seat.
Okay, and this is, of course, the acetylene tank.
That was added on because in North Dakota it was so cold that the acetylene tank drip would freeze, so they couldn't get any headlights.
So this is for the headlight system.
So
it's not for the
actually
starting
put acetylene
system.
in there so they could drive it at night in the wintertime.
Okay, now I'm looking here at the coil box. This looks to be original.
Yes, everything's original.
Are the coils original too?
Yep.
And the mags original?
Yep.
And you haven't spun to see yet what condition it's in. That's part of the starting process.
No, it did run in parades.
Okay.
We do know that. So it does run, but we're just got to get it running.
And again, if you look at the finish on this car, you would think that someone distressed this. And it's not. This is the way it arrived, which is just phenomenal. And this is a placard that they have on the front of it. And I'll pause here. So what they're undergoing now, what are we looking at here? We've got the fan belt.
Just basically new belts. We're going to put new belts on it. And the oiler has been rebuilt. The drip oiler system. So basically now we're just got to find out all the electrical and make sure everything works there. Make sure the mag works. The timer's working right.
And this is your oiler right here.
Yes.
What's unusual here, and I don't know how unusual it is, but you got a visible window here.
What's also interesting is It also has an electrical connection to it, so you cannot start the car without the oiler being turned on.
Wow. So you have an interlock feature to ensure that you have lubrication.
Correct.
And this is a visual window to see your oil level?
Yes.
Boy, that's a really good idea.
Yep.
What other unique features does this car have, would you say, for the period that you've noticed?
This engine was built by the Wayne Corporation, the Wayne Works company. It's their own motor.
Now, for those that don't know, how many automobile assemblers / manufacturers during this period prior to 1915 were there just here in Richmond? This wasn't the only one, was it?
No, in Richmond, prior to, if you want to say 1915, before, we probably had 7 or 8, maybe 9.
And that included steam engine.
Yeah, we had a
Manufacturers.
we had a steam engine manufacturer. We had a cycle car manufacturer,
Wow.
and
And this isn't the only car that you've had a restoration on. Didn't you restore at least one other car?
we did an actual complete restoration of a 1922 Pilot automobile that was made here in Richmond, Indiana.
And that's won awards.
Yeah, that has won awards on concourse shows. It was all done by volunteer, and it's a group of guys that get together once a week and work on cars. And we restored that one because it was another original car that was owned by 2 people, and one guy was a guy named A. Leo Stevens, who was a inventor of the improvement to the ripcord on a parachute. And that was because he was an early aeronaut, and he also managed the first female pilot, and she passed away because she fell out of her airplane. And so he spent his life working on parachutes.
Now, the Wayne County Historical Society, how long have you been, you're a nonprofit, how long have you been in operation for?
Since the 1920s.
Since the 1920s. And how many motorized vehicles do you have in your collection right now, both inside and outside, would you say?
Motorized, I would say pushing 20.
Okay, so if someone wanted to donate a vehicle or make a donation of other items, how would they get a hold of you? Who would they call?
They would call Karen Chapman, our director, and I'm not certain on the phone number, unfortunately.
Okay, could they also call you?
They could call me
Okay,
if interested.
okay, and how would they get a hold of you?
My phone number is 765-969-6809.
Okay, and I know Mark,
Yeah,
and your name again, and this is bad because I forgot.
well, it's unusual. Gunty Atkins.
Gunty Atkins, and that sounds Norwegian or Dutch or something like.
Latvian. It's
Okay.
got the family name.
So I'll tell you folks, I go all over the country, I go to all kinds of museums. These are the museums you need to donate to. These are the museums that have the people that care about what it is that they work on. There's a lot of selfless donation of hours and parts and materials. And something like this can be turned into a vehicle that can be appreciated by the public and can serve as a learning tool and not be sitting somewhere in a dark corner. So Wayne County Historical Society, Richmond, Indiana, look them up, come visit, make a donation. That's it for me. Everybody, I hope you're having a good day.